I'd like to call to order the January 14th meeting of the Oak Ridge Board of Education. Please join me as we honor America as the Wildcat Company presents our colors. Please rise. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay. Our Secret City Academy was supposed to be here, but they had some scheduling conflicts, so we will have them another night. Dr. B.
Absolutely. As we start our meeting today, I think most people know over the weekend, Oak Ridge High School and our entire community suffered a tremendous loss. Amber Mitchell, a senior at Oak Ridge High School, and her father, Alan, tragically lost their lives in a fatal car accident. Please join me in honoring them with a brief moment of silence. Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is the approval of the agenda. I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion made by Ms. Webb, seconded by Dr. Hartman. Any additions or corrections?
I would like to make an motion to this. In light of the fact that the state legislature has not begun debate on the bill and we don't know what changes they will make, I move that we postpone the resolution opposing Governor Lee's Education Freedom Scholarship Act.
Okay, I have a motion to amend our agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Let's have discussion. Mary, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I feel like it's a little early to jump in with this resolution on our part until we can see what exactly the legislature is going to do with this bill.
Okay. Heather, do you have anything? All right. Anybody else?
I was reached out to multiple times by, I would say, probably close to 100 points of contact asking us to move forward with this resolution tonight. So I would support us keeping the agenda as is.
We have a amendment that has been motion and second, so we will vote on the amendment. Right, we will vote on the amendment to postpone. Do we need to do this as a voice vote? Okay. Please cast your vote. The motion failed. The motion to amend has failed. Okay, now we will go back to the original motion to approve the agenda. Please cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, moving on. The next thing on our agenda is good news. But before we do our good news, I'd like to ask you to help us welcome our two newest board members, Mary Crank and Ashley Craven. This is their first official board meeting. They have done several other events with us, but please help me in welcoming them to our board. Okay, we're going to start with our good news, and Ashley, could you start us off?
My good news is from Willowbrook. Willowbrook proudly hosted the annual Thanksgiving Day lunch for students and their families. They were thrilled to serve approximately 600 school lunches to everyone who attended, and a big special thank you to the SFE for their outstanding support in making this event successful, providing excellent service and delicious food for all. In December, Willowbrook was excited to welcome the Oak Ridge School Board to our campus. During the visit, the students had the opportunity to showcase their talents and their hard work through various programs, including the Ambassador Program, Student Senate, and the Robertics Club. The visit concluded with a tour of the classrooms, allowing board members to witness learning in action. It was a wonderful occasion to celebrate the students' accomplishments and the incredible work that is taking place at Willowbrook.
All right, Ms. Crank.
This is also from Willowbrook. A huge congratulations goes to third grade math teacher Mr. Ryan Kent for being named Novice Teacher of the Year for the district. Although this is only his third year at Willowbrook, Mr. Kent has shown remarkable strategies for connecting with students and bringing out their best. His energy is infectious, and our students absolutely love being in his class. We are proud to have Mr. Kent on our team and look forward to his continued success. Willowbrook is excited to congratulate second grade teacher Mrs. Deanna O'Kirk on being named WBIR's Educator of the Week. Ms. O'Kirk has demonstrated outstanding success across multiple grade levels and roles throughout her career. In addition to being a phenomenal educator, she also serves as our ELA department chair, leading with dedication and excellence. She truly wears many hats and excels in all that she does. Congratulations, Ms. O'Kirk. We are proud to have you on our team.
Okay, Dr. Hartman.
On Saturday, December 14, the Woodland Hawkbots attended the first LEGO League Secret City qualifier at Jefferson Middle School. Despite being a first-year team and competing against teams of students from 4th through 8th grade, our Hawkbots were awarded first place in core values. This recognition shows that our team embodied the 6 first LEGO League core values of discovery, innovation, impact, inclusion, teamwork, and fun. We are all very proud of the 2024-25 Hawkbots. And that's all from Woodland.
Ms. Webb.
We have good news from Robertsville. Each year, the Knoxville Museum of Art hosts the East Tennessee Regional Students Art Exhibit for grades 6 through 12. This is a juried show, which means that while submissions are welcomed, not all will be selected for display. The show is significant, and thousands of pieces are submitted from across East Tennessee. This year, Robertsville had 5 of the 7 submitted pieces accepted into the show, which is phenomenal. 3 of the pieces received awards. The show will be on display at the Knoxville Museum of Art from November 29th through January 12th. November 23rd, the East Tennessee State Band and Orchestra Association conducted auditions for middle school students interested in participating in an honor band clinic held on December 6th and 7th. These auditions are competitive with only 3 bands available: bronze, silver, and gold. Each band has a limited number of spots for each instrument, and the opportunity is open to students from Oak Ridge, Roane, Anderson County, Maryville, and all schools in the Knoxville area. Given the competitive nature of the auditions, we are thrilled to announce that eighth graders Izzy Teague, Landon Davis, and Sebastian Acevedo have successfully secured placements in one of the 3 bands. That's great news.
Okay, and I have good news from Oak Ridge High School. Currently, a total of 16 students have achieved certification in Microsoft Word and PowerPoint. Additionally, 11 students have obtained certification in Microsoft Excel, while another 11 have earned the Microsoft Office Specialist Associate designation for Microsoft 365 apps. Mrs. Marinek's Medical Therapeutics class, 19 students successfully completed their CPR training and earned certification. 12 students achieved their Certified Clinical Medical Assistant certification. And finally, ORHS is pleased to announce that 21 students have qualified for the HOSA State Leadership Conference. And that's just some of the good news from Oak Ridge Schools. All right, next is our public forum. The public forum is for anyone who would like to address a topic that is not on the agenda. You may address a topic that is on the agenda when it is presented. Please raise your hand to be recognized. If you choose to address the board, you will have 3 minutes to speak. The board may or may not respond to your comments and may have the superintendent address your concerns. When you speak, please come to the podium and sign in, and then state your name and address for the board. Is there anyone who would like to speak? Okay, seeing no one, we will move on. Our next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Ms. Webb, seconded by Dr. Hartman. Any discussions? Okay, please cast your vote. Motion passes. Okay, next we will move on to the election of a board chair. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. B for this.
All right, this is the one time of year I'm in charge of the board for like 2 minutes. So we're going to use the same process we've used in years past. You have some ballots underneath your monitors. So if we need to have those ballots, if we have more than one person nominated, but what I'll do is in a second here, seek nominations. I'll write those names down. The board will know who's nominated, and I'll ask you to put a name on that one ballot, and then just fold it if you'd like, bring it down this way, just pass it along, and then I'll read out how many we have. So obviously with 5 people on the board, we need a person that gets 3 votes, and they would become chair. So I'll seek nominations at this point. Any other nominations? Okay, hearing none, I think we can just take a voice vote at this point. No point in handing your ballots down to me. So all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Okay. And since there are 5 females up here, I asked executive committee. I've been saying Mr. Chairman for 11 and a half years. So a little grace tonight, and I really don't know what to call it. We've talked about Miss Chair, Miss Chairperson, Miss Chairwoman, so we can decide later, Laura, if that's okay, but okay, all right. Very good.
I will take control of the meeting away from you. And now we will elect our vice chair. Mrs. Webb has expressed interest to me to become the vice chair, and I wasn't sure if anybody else was going to express an interest. Seeing none, I think we can do a voice vote for Erin Webb to become the vice chair. All in favor? Aye. Okay, congratulations. Thank you very much. I've served on this board for the last 10 years with Mr. Phil Auer at the helm, and he's been a great mentor for both Erin and I. And with this board, along with all of you, I know we're going to continue to strive for excellence here in Oak Ridge Schools. So thank you very much. Okay. Next on the agenda is the resolution opposing Governor Lee's Education Freedom Scholarship Act. Dr. B.
Let's see, sorry. Motion to approve the resolution opposing Governor Lee's Education Freedom Scholarship Act.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
A second? Okay, I have a motion from Ms. Webb and a second from Ms. Craven. Any discussion or comments? Dr. B, I want to start with you.
Yeah, I think we all know this has been talked about now for multiple years, and this board a different board last year approved a resolution along with the city council, and it's in front of the board tonight for discussion and approval.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes, I would like to amend the resolution. The third paragraph from the bottom, whereas vouchers and education savings accounts, ESAs, threaten the district's ability, I would like to insert could before threaten. And at the end of that same paragraph, strike and disrupt local control of education. I would also include striking the last paragraph. Be it further resolved that the Oak Ridge Schools Board of Education urges the Tennessee General Assembly to consider, et cetera.
Okay, so you are making a motion to amend.
Correct.
Okay, I need a second for that. Ms. Crank, Ms. Crank seconded. So now we will have a discussion.
I recently attended a webinar from TSBA where they discussed this act and how the charter school applications work. And so my objection to that local control phrase is that if a charter application is filed, then this board would be able to vote on that. And if we voted to approve that, then this board would be overseeing that charter school. And if we did not approve that application, and it was subsequently approved by the state group that approves charter applications when the local board does not, we would still have the option at that point to oversee that school, even though we had not approved it initially. So that's the reason I'm striking that, or proposing that we strike that. And I thought that last paragraph was unnecessary and a little bit kind of, why don't y'all focus on, kind of directive on our part. And I think that we accomplished what we needed to in that next to last paragraph.
So I guess my question about the phrasing on the disrupt, though, is if the board votes not to accept a charter school and then a vote is taken at another level that says we disregard your vote, is that not a disruption of local control?
My point is that we would still have the option of controlling that school. So, no.
Any more discussion on the amendment to the resolution?
I think I like the last paragraph because we are firm in our belief that we don't like vouchers, and I think they do need to focus on something else at this point, just make our position a little more clear.
Okay, anything else? Okay, so we are going to vote on the amendment to make the changes that Dr. Hartman has suggested. So please cast your vote. Gotta vote again. Okay, wait a second.
That's the next.
This is the next one. So we didn't get the,
Results of the amendment.
okay, the motion passes to approve the amendment. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the initial resolution. As amended, thank you. So please cast your vote. The motion passes 4-1. Okay, so we are going to move on to item D, the internal school funds. Dr. B?
There, I did it. Ms. Chair, I recommend approval of FY24 internal school funds audit.
Per the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
A motion made by Dr. Hartman, seconded by Ms. Webb. Dr. Board?
Okay. As you can see from the memo there, the results of the audit examination for the individual student activity for each school continue to reflect an overall commitment by staff to the fiscal management and observance of Board of Education policies and procedures.
Any discussion, questions? Please cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, next is the budget transfer number 1. Dr. B?
Ms. Chair, I recommend approval of FY25 budget transfer number 1, second reading.
Per the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion made by Dr. Hartman, seconded by Ms. Webb. Dr. B?
As we talked last time, this is just routine budget transfers and revisions from July 1 through November 11th.
Any questions? Okay, please cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next is Board Policy 4.200, Curriculum Development. It's a first and second reading.
Mr. Chair, I recommend approval of Board Policy 4.200, Curriculum Development, first and second reading.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation. Do I hear a motion? And a second? Motion made by Ms. Craven, seconded by Ms. Crank. Discussions?
I would just say, and I'm going to turn to Dr. Williams in a second here, but we've made a lot of changes here, but we want to more closely align with the TSBA policy recommendations, but Dr. Williams can share some other data as well as why you're seeing some of these changes.
First and foremost, we wanted it to be clear that our curriculum is based upon the state standards. So that's a really important clarity that we needed to have and be in better alignment with the TSBA policy recommendation. But in addition to that, I would add that we have greatly invested over the last 5 years in purchasing really high-quality instructional materials for our students and really high-quality curriculum materials for our teachers to use. We've invested a lot of time in training in those, and we have seen really great results from doing so. So this policy just further clarifies that rather than the older methods we used to use where teachers had to spend a lot of their time creating curriculum, they instead now are tasked to use these high-quality materials given the support needed to do so, and that those materials are in alignment with the state standards.
Thank you. Any questions for Kelly or Dr. Williams? Okay, hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next is Board Policy 4.603, Promotion and Retention, a first and second reading. Dr. B.
Mr. Chair, I recommend approval of Board Policy 4.603, Promotion and Retention, first and second reading.
Per the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion? Second? Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Hartman and a second by Ms. Webb. Any comments or questions from the board?
Mr. Chair, if I could, I can kind of tell you why this came to this point tonight. The State Board of Education updated Regulation 0520-01-03-16 at its November meeting. Parents and guardians who choose to retain their K-2 student must submit a written request within 30 days of the end of the school year. If the student is not eligible for voluntary retention under state law, the district is now required to respond to the parent and guardian in writing. And Dr. Williams can answer more questions if there are some.
Any questions for Dr. Williams?
Are they required to determine at that point if they want to retain the child 30 days after school, or do they have some more time?
Ask that question one more time.
If the parent requests that their child be held back, does the school need to respond with a definite answer at that point in time, or do they wait?
So there is a very complicated roadmap that the state's provided related to all elementary retention at this point. There are timelines that we have to adhere to, but as of recently, we've been given a little more lenience around pulling a team together of parents and school officials and making the best decision for that student. So I'll have to follow up with you on the exact number of days, but there is a timeline that we follow on that.
Okay, any more questions? Okay, hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passed unanimously. Next on the agenda is Board Policy 4.700, testing programs. This is a first and second reading. Dr. B.
Mr. Chair, I recommend approval of Board Policy 4.700, testing programs on a first and second reading.
Per the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion? And a second? A motion made by Ms. Craven, a second by Dr. Hartman. Dr. Borchert?
Adjustments have been made to the testing window for students who request to take the high school credit exam for world language courses. The exam will be administered during the semester before students are eligible to enroll in the course.
Any questions for Dr. B or Kelly? Okay, hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is the exception to Board Policy 5.1101 for 2 staff members. Dr. B.
Mr. Chair, I recommend approval of exception to Board Policy 5.1101 for 2 staff members.
Per the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion made by Ms. Webb, seconded by Ms. Craven. Dr. B.
As the board recalls, or some of you recall, we had 2 staff members in October that appealed to the board because they had earned their degree and wanted to see if they could have that salary jump at this point in time, and we've got 2 more here this evening.
That's good news. Any questions or comments?
I just think it's fantastic that we have teachers that are continuing to pursue their degrees and are just bettering and bettering themselves to come back and educate our children even better.
Okay, any more questions or comments? All right, please cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Yay. You guys can go if you want. Okay, next on the agenda is the purchase of a replacement boiler system for Oak Ridge High School. Dr. B.
Mr. Chair, I recommend approval of the purchase and installation of the replacement boiler system at Oak Ridge High School by McMahon Mechanical Incorporated in the amount of $245,000.
Per the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Motion made by Dr. Hartman, seconded by Ms. Webb.
I have a feeling Mr. Thacker's going to get called up anyway. So, Mr. Thacker, do you want to just describe this
Come
situation?
on down here.
Good evening. Prior to winter break, we had some issues with our boiler system on the east side of Oak Ridge High School. Our high school is operated by 2 separate boiler loops, west and east. The west side was renovated under our Energy Services program a couple of years ago. The east side is at age. The equipment was purchased in 2005. So we started seeing some challenges with that equipment, but we do annual service with a particular boiler company we've used since the boilers were installed. This year when we did startup for winter weather, 1 boiler failed. We brought the company in. They worked for several weeks and finally threw their hands up and said, "This thing is dead. You need to replace it." At the same time, the secondary boiler, we had a component in that fail as well. We have since, for lack of a better term, rigged it to run. So we are monitoring it on a daily basis, keeping our fingers crossed that we can keep it through these winter weather times. And we contacted McMahon Mechanical, who had just completed our Robertsville boiler replacement system, and they were able to locate the equipment, matches what we've been putting in all of our schools, so it's a common unit that we're using, and they felt like they can get that work started. I spoke to the contractor today. They can start rolling out this week and start the work upon your approval. This work would be completed in phases because we have 2 boilers. We'll replace the boiler that is non-functional first, get it operational. That way we can then move on to the one that we've currently got in a rigged status. And then we'll get that one operational and we'll have both boilers running. When we have our lowest temperatures, it typically uses both boilers to maintain our water loop temperature in order for all of our equipment to run on the east side. This boiler loop affects our Performing Arts Center, CDC classrooms, music classrooms, the cafeteria, the second and third level of CS on the far east wing, what we typically call AA or the 94 addition to that building. So all of that is contained in this particular loop area. And we do have space heaters in place for the classroom areas for when we don't meet the required heating water flow in order to keep the units running. So we are doing our very best, keeping our fingers crossed and monitoring on a daily basis. I'm open for any questions.
You said in phases, what would the time frame be to complete that? And would there be any disruption to the function of the facilities like during the week while it's happening?
It would not disrupt the function because each boiler has a separate link into the loop, so we can actually valve off one boiler, work on it, and then open that valve open, turn it back into the system. According to the contractor I spoke today, barring any equipment or materials delays, they should have that first boiler up and running no later than 4 weeks time frame. 4 weeks, which is very impressive.
It may be that our kids in the high school might need to wear a hoodie.
Well, most kids wear hoodies anyway, so I don't think that's a problem.
Any more questions for Alan? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve the boiler replacement project. Please cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next is our 2026-2027 district school calendar. Dr. B.
Mr. Chair, I recommend approval of the 26-27 district school calendar.
Per the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion? Motion made by Ms. Webb, seconded by Dr. Hartman. Dr. B.
Okay, and what typically I would do here is go to Mr. Lay, but Ms. Lauren Dean has had a lot of time with him to work and talk about this calendar, so I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Lauren Dean.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. In regards to the calendar committee, there are representatives from all the schools on that calendar committee, and we convened and discussed it and got some amazing feedback from our staff, and created the option A, the option B. Option A was kind of in a line with everything else. Option B had students and staff getting out before the holiday. So we did send it out and get feedback from staff. They were, we had 205 staff responses, 86 to 14 in favor of getting out before the holiday. So the committee did a great job and feel very good about that calendar. And just ended up working that way. It won't always happen that way in regards to that holiday, but when we can make that happen, we wanted to definitely make sure that we got that to staff and we heard their voice, so.
Any questions for Ms. Lauren Dean? So they were able to look at the surrounding school systems, spring and fall break?
So that, nothing in there changed.
Nothing in there.
All that changed. The only thing that was different was in regards to Election Day. In the new calendar, it is now a non-student day, but it will be a staff development day, and that was one of the days. And then on President's Day is now a regular staff day. But the feedback that we heard was they would rather go to school on President's Day than have to come back after the holiday in June to finish that. So, but everything else stayed the same.
Great, thank you so much.
You are welcome.
All right, so you have heard the recommendation. Any more questions? Okay, please cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, next is the Linden Elementary new club, the Crochet Club.
All right, Ms. Chair, I recommend approval of the new club crochet at Linden Elementary.
Per superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion? Motion made by Ms. Craven, seconded by Dr. Hartman. Dr. B.
This makes me smile. If you've not seen the club at Willowbrook, they've got a waiting list to be in this club, and I'm sure the same thing will happen at Linden. So just exciting to see kids do this work at school. They love it.
I think this is great. It teaches math skills and then a lifetime hobby. Any comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next, Linden Elementary new club Legacy and History.
Mr. Chair, I recommend approval of a new club Legacy and History at Linden Elementary School.
Per the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion? Motion made by Ms. Webb, seconded by Ms. Craven.
I think many of the board have been over to Linden to see Dr. Little's Black History Month, and it's just amazing what they're doing. Looks like they're just starting a club now to work on that year-round for that event, so that's great news.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, please cast your vote. Motion passed unanimously. Next on the agenda is the Oak Ridge High School, a new club, the Red Cross Club. Dr. B.
Mr. Chair, I recommend approval of the Oak Ridge High School, the new club Red Cross Club.
Per the superintendent's recommendation, do I hear a motion? A motion made by Dr. Hartman, seconded by Ms. Crank. Dr.
Okay.
B.
And the purpose of this is to bring students together that are interested in the medical field and learn more about health-related subjects.
Any questions or comments? I think this is a great idea. And the health sciences classes, I'm sure they have headed
I'm
this up.
assuming.
Yeah. Any more questions? Please cast your vote. Motion passes unanimously. Now we're going to move on to items for information, the legislative update. Ms. Webb.
So the 114th General Assembly just convened today at noon. So unfortunately, the next liaison meeting is next week on the 24th. So we'll have more detailed information on specifically the Education Freedom Act bill that has been introduced. So I'll have a ton of information at our next meeting, but I will send you the link as well.
Great. Okay, thank you so much. All right, next is item B, the enrollment and attendance report.
Okay, so we do have some good news in regards to enrollment. At this time, and what we've done is we've taken the data and compared it to, from the date that we get the information to May 24th of 2024. So that's what it's compared to. And at this time, we are up 51 students from May 24th. However, we've seen a huge increase since December 19th in those numbers. We've increased about 15 kids through the district. Oak Ridge School did drop, or Oak Ridge High School did drop by 1 student. Robertsville remained the same. Jefferson increased by 5 students, Woodland by 1, Willowbrook by 3, Linden by 5, and Glenwood by 2. And there may even been 1 or 2 since then. So we are excited about that trajectory. We did see a lull for a long time, and Mr. Lay was communicating that. But since December 19th compared to January 9th when those were run, we have seen an increase. And now to our lovely Staff and Student Attendance Award. Which one is that?
I've got students.
Okay, the Student Award. So the staff one did not make it back here, so we'll go ahead and do student first. And no, I don't want to call anybody out in the room, but we will go ahead and do that. Michael Martin has graciously said that it is on him, so it is not. It did not. So thank you, Michael Martin.
I appreciate you.
No, you are good. You are. All right, so we are doing student attendance. This is the reporting period for November 11th through December 4th. Honorable mention was Glenwood and Jefferson, who were both at 5%. Best student attendance this time was Woodland again with 4.5%. And regarding those rates, they are kind of staying steady. We are seeing a little bit of a decrease, which is good. And, I don't know if the sickness hit over break, which I pretty much think that it did. I know there's some things going around right now, but let's just keep our fingers crossed. But that's a huge attribute to our amazing school nurses and our custodians who keep our buildings clean. So a huge shout out to them. For staff attendance, this is, again, we put these together with November and December. Together due to the holidays. Honorable mention was Oak Ridge High School. It was at a positive 1.24%. And best staff attendance was Jefferson Middle School, positive 1.75. So you just get to keep that. Keep the trophy. Yes. In regards to staff perfect attendance, 37% of the district during those months had perfect attendance for November, December. And again, we did see, a little bit of illness there and, during that time. So there's our student and staff attendance. Well done, everyone.
That is good news. Okay, next on the agenda is our financial report. Ms. Van Dyke, anything exciting?
Nothing exciting, no. We're ramping up budget for next fiscal year. Everybody's turning stuff into us now, so we'll be focusing on that pretty heavily over the next couple of months. Otherwise, we're kind of on track for revenues and expenditures like we see most other years.
Great, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to items for discussion. Any old business or new business? Okay, communications. Got several things going on. Tomorrow, I will be interviewing Ms. Crank and Ms. Craven on Focus on Education. On Friday is our principal PLC, so if you all can come anytime during the day. It starts at 8:30 and I think goes till 1. Yeah, so if you can come to any of those times, it's good. Next week, on the 27th, we will visit Woodland at 7:45. And then on the 27th, we'll have our next Board of Education meeting. And then finally, for all of us, your Tennessee Ethics Commission State of Disclosure of Interests needs to be filed with the state of Tennessee by the end of this month. Okay, anything else, Dr. B?
I don't have anything else, just, I think we did well tonight as a new group, so.
All right,
Congratulations.
Thank you to Melissa, thank you to Alicia and Steve back there. Thank you all. Y'all stay warm, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Meeting is adjourned.